The rain hammered against the windows of our small apartment in Seattle, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. For weeks, maybe even months, a gnawing unease had settled in my gut. Brixton, my wife of 15 years, had become distant, her laughter less frequent, her touch hesitant. I'm Quentin, 46, an IT specialist, and I pride myself on being observant, but I desperately wanted to believe I was just imagining things. It started subtly. Late nights at the office, she claimed, working on a critical project. Brixton is a marketing executive, a field where long hours are sometimes unavoidable, but this felt different. The explanations were vague, the details inconsistent. She'd always been meticulous about sharing her day, but now, when I asked, she'd brush it off with a tired smile and a promise to tell me later, a promise that was never kept. Then came the phone. She'd clutch it to her chest when I entered the room, her fingers flying across the screen as if trying to erase evidence. The ringer was always on silent, and she'd step out onto the balcony to take calls, her voice hushed and secretive. I tried to tell myself it was work-related, that I was being paranoid, but the seed of doubt had been planted, and it was growing rapidly. One evening, I decided to surprise her at work. I brought her favorite coffee and a pastry, hoping to lighten her mood and maybe, just maybe, ease my own anxieties. The receptionist greeted me with a confused look. "Brixton isn't here," she said. "She called in sick today." My heart sank. I thanked her and walked back out into the Seattle drizzle, the coffee growing cold in my hand. I didn't go home. Instead, I drove aimlessly, trying to make sense of the knot in my stomach. Why would she lie? Was she really sick? Or was there another reason she couldn't face me? I decided to drive past a small park near our apartment. It was a spot where we often walked our dog, a golden retriever named Gus. As I approached, I saw a familiar figure sitting on a bench, her head resting on someone's shoulder. It was Brixton. I pulled over, my hands shaking. I couldn't make out the other person's face, but as I got closer, I recognized the expensive watch on his wrist. It was Jasper, one of Brixton's colleagues, a man she'd mentioned several times, always with a hint of admiration in her voice. I watched them for what felt like an eternity, frozen in place. They were holding hands, whispering to each other, their faces close. The rain had stopped, and a sliver of sunlight broke through the clouds, illuminating their betrayal. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. My vision blurred, and a wave of nausea washed over me. I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream, to confront them, but I was paralyzed by shock and disbelief. This couldn't be happening, not to me, not to us. I drove home in a daze, my mind racing. How could she do this? After all we'd been through, after all the promises we'd made. We had built a life together, a home, a family. Gus was our only child, really. We had shared dreams, hopes, and fears. How could she throw it all away for a fleeting moment of passion with someone else? I sat in the dark, waiting for her to come home. The apartment felt cold and empty, devoid of the warmth and laughter that had once filled it. Gus whined at my feet, sensing my distress. I stroked his fur, trying to find some comfort in his unwavering loyalty. Finally, I heard the key in the lock. Brixton walked in, her face flushed, her eyes bright. "Quentin, you're home early," she said, trying to sound surprised. "How are you feeling?" The question hung in the air, a cruel joke. How was I feeling? Betrayed, heartbroken, and utterly lost. "I saw you, Brixton," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "I saw you with Jasper." Her face paled. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. She just stood there, her eyes wide with fear and guilt. "How could you?" I asked, my voice rising. "How could you do this to me, to us?" Tears streamed down her face. "Quentin, I don't know what to say," she stammered. "It just happened." It was a mistake, a mistake. Was that all it was? A fleeting moment of weakness that could be excused and forgotten? No. This was a betrayal of the deepest kind, a violation of the trust that was the foundation of our marriage. "A mistake," I repeated, my voice laced with sarcasm. "You were holding his hand, Brixton. You were leaning on his shoulder. That doesn't sound like a mistake to me." She sank to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. "I'm so sorry, Quentin," she cried. "I never meant to hurt you. Still love you," but I didn't believe her. Her words rang hollow, empty of meaning. How could she love me and betray me at the same time? It didn't make sense. "I don't understand why you did this," I said, my voice trembling. "What did you want that I couldn't give you?" She looked up at me, her eyes filled with desperation. "It's not about you, Quentin," she said. "It's about me. I've been feeling restless, like I'm missing something. I thought maybe Jasper could fill that void, so I wasn't enough. After 15 years, I wasn't enough. I had dedicated my life to making her happy, to providing for her, to loving her unconditionally. And in return, she had sought validation in the arms of another man. "I need you to leave," I said, my voice firm. "I need you to pack your things and go." She looked at me in disbelief. "Quentin, please," she begged. "Don't do this. We can work through this. We can go to therapy. We can fix this." But I was done. The trust was broken, the love tarnished. There was no going back. "It's over, Brixton," I said. "I can't forgive you. I can't forget what you've done." She packed her bags in silence, her tears falling onto her clothes. As she walked out the door, she turned to me one last time. "I'm going to regret this for the rest of my life, Quentin," she said. "I'm so sorry." I watched her go, my heart aching with a pain I had never known before. The apartment felt even emptier now, filled only with the ghosts of our shattered dreams. The next few weeks were a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and sleepless nights. The divorce was messy, acrimonious. Brixton fought for everything she could get, her guilt replaced by anger and resentment. I didn't care about the money or the possessions. I just wanted it to be over. One day, my friend Kieran, a lawyer, called me. "Quentin, I think you should see this," he said, his voice grim. "Brixton is trying to claim that you were emotionally abusive during the marriage. She's saying that you controlled her, isolated her from her friends, and made her feel worthless." I was stunned. Emotionally abusive. I had always treated Brixton with respect and kindness. I had supported her dreams, celebrated her successes, and comforted her during her failures. How could she twist the truth like this? "She's lying, Kieran," I said, my voice shaking with anger. "It's a complete fabrication." "I know, Quentin," he said, "but you need to be prepared. Her lawyer is going to try to paint you as the villain in this story. We need to gather evidence to prove that her claims are false." I spent the next few days digging through old photos, emails, and letters, searching for anything that could refute Brixton's accusations. It was painful, reliving the memories of our happier times, knowing that they were now tainted by her betrayal. As I sifted through the evidence, I stumbled upon something that made my blood run cold. It was a series of emails between Brixton and Jasper, dating back several months before I had discovered their affair. The emails revealed that they had been planning to leave their spouses and start a new life together. They had even discussed how to manipulate me into agreeing to a divorce, making me look like the bad guy in the process. I felt a surge of rage, hotter and more intense than anything I had ever experienced before. She had not only cheated on me, but she had also plotted against me, trying to destroy my reputation and steal my future. I forwarded the emails to Kieran, my hands shaking. "This is it," I said. "This proves that she was lying all along." Kieran was furious. "This is grounds for a defamation lawsuit, Quentin," he said. "We can sue her for everything she's worth." But I didn't want her money. I wanted her to suffer the consequences of her actions. I wanted her to feel the pain and humiliation that she had inflicted on me. I decided to take a different approach. I contacted Jasper's wife, a kind and gentle woman named Penelope, who I had met several times at company events. I told her everything, showing her the emails and the photos of Brixton and Jasper together. Penelope was devastated. She had no idea that her husband was having an affair. She had trusted him implicitly, and he had betrayed her in the most despicable way. Together, Penelope and I devised a plan. We decided to expose Brixton and Jasper's affair to everyone they knew. We created a website posting the emails, the photos, and a detailed account of their betrayal. We sent the link to their families, their friends, and their colleagues. The reaction was swift and brutal. Brixton and Jasper were ostracized by their communities. They lost their jobs, their friends, and their reputations. Their families disowned them. They were pariahs, shunned by everyone they knew. I watched it all unfold with a sense of grim satisfaction. They had hurt me, and now they were paying the price. It wasn't revenge, not exactly. It was justice. But even as I saw them suffer, I couldn't shake the feeling of emptiness inside me. The pain of Brixton's betrayal still lingered, a dull ache in my heart. I knew that I would never fully recover from what she had done. One day, I decided to sell our apartment and move to a new city. I needed a fresh start, a chance to rebuild my life without the constant reminders of my past. I packed my belongings, said goodbye to my friends, and drove away from Seattle, leaving behind the wreckage of my marriage. As I drove, I thought about Brixton and Jasper. I wondered if they were happy, if they had found the fulfillment they had been searching for. I doubted it. Their betrayal had poisoned their relationship, and I suspected that they would never truly trust each other. I didn't know what the future held for me, but I was determined to move on, to find happiness again. I owed it to myself, and I owed it to Gus, who had been my constant companion throughout this ordeal. I drove into the sunset, leaving the past behind me. The road ahead was long and uncertain, but I was ready to face it, armed with the knowledge that I had survived the worst betrayal imaginable, and that I was stronger than I ever thought possible. Years passed. I built a new life in Denver, Colorado. I found a fulfilling job, made new friends, and even started dating again. I never forgot about Brixton, but her memory no longer haunted me. I had forgiven her, not for her sake, but for my own. One day, I received a letter from Brixton. It was a long, rambling apology, filled with remorse and regret. She told me that her relationship with Jasper had ended badly, that he had left her for another woman. She was alone, broke, and miserable. She begged me to forgive her, to give her another chance. But I couldn't. The trust was gone, the love extinguished. There was nothing left between us. I wrote her back, telling her that I forgave her, but that I couldn't rekindle our relationship. I wished her well and asked her not to contact me again. I never heard from her again. I continued to live my life, grateful for the lessons I had learned and the strength I had found within myself. I knew that I would always carry the scars of Brixton's betrayal, but I refused to let them define me. I was a survivor, and I was determined to live a happy and fulfilling life, despite the pain of my past. And Gus, he lived a long and happy life, always by my side, a loyal and loving companion until the very end. He was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always love and hope to be found. That's my story. A story of betrayal, heartbreak, and ultimately, resilience. I hope it serves as a reminder that even when life throws its worst at you, you can always find the strength to pick yourself up and move on. It's a hard road, but it's worth it. Trust me.